Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
My biggest advice to the younger woman I once would have been, let that go. Dare to be different, be brave, have the courage, try it. If it fails, move on, kick some ass, and just enjoy that journey.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here, we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a K-S. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome to My Body, My Story project. And today with us in the studio, Lucinda. Hi Lucinda.
Hello.
And while she's sitting in the makeup chair and Nicole is doing makeup for her, I'll be asking her a few questions. Welcome to the project, welcome to the studio, Lucinda, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you. What would you like to know?
Everything.
I
10 facts about you.
I'm a little quirky, bit flirty, believe very much in the sisterhood and lifting each other. I'm 52 years of age. I've been a single mum. I have two amazing teenage daughters. I've raised and one of the greatest achievements, I think, of my children. I have an interesting career. I work in Corrective Services, New South Wales. So I actually work in the community with offenders in the community. And that's a job I'm very passionate about. I believe very much in what we do, helping people to make healthier choices in their life, to change their lives, to improve their families' position, to make the community a safer place. So I'm very passionate about my career.
So you already jumped into my second question, what are you most passionate about? But let's talk about that, it's very interesting. So do you want to tell us a bit more about this job you're doing?
Yes. So in Corrective Services, I work within a community context. So I don't work within the custodial system. I work with people who have been released from custody or prior, early intervention. So we supervise. I manage teams that manage or supervise offenders in the community. And I have this amazing job where I work remotely. So I work with people that may be working throughout New South Wales in the communities, working with offenders. So I see my role as very much a leadership role. I support those people because it's a very, at times, stressful. It can be a very stressful and demanding job. It can be very sad. So my role is very much about supporting my team, my people, and being a leader amongst them, role modelling, the culture, the values that of integrity and accountability and service. That's fundamentally what I do.
So how did you come up with this
Isn't it interesting?
career?
A lot of my life is just I stumbled upon this. I don't think it's ever a career. I've never heard of anyone saying I want to be a parole officer. When I grow up one day, I want to be a parole officer. In fact, when I applied for the job, my friend said, Lucinda, you won't be able to wear sparkles. It's just ridiculous. This is not your kind of career. But in fact, I love it. It matches. I've worked in education. I've worked in regional development. I've had a variety of life. I've worked in executive recruitment. This job is the one I love the most, because I'm actually making a difference in people's lives. And yes, as I said, I'm helping people to make healthier choices that will benefit their family, the next generation, and keep our communities safe. So it's very rewarding, and it's very humbling. I think I've had quite a privileged life, and my social network are quite privileged people too. So when I work with offenders, it's kept me humble. It's made me appreciate that we are very lucky.
Yeah.
And some people aren't as lucky as what we are.
So you work with men and women?
Men and women, but predominantly men. But yes, we work with both men and women. It's particularly difficult working sometimes with women because there is a lot of guilt around how they may have failed their families. A lot more, I think. But everyone has a different life journey, and they have an opportunity to make change. And that's fundamentally what we do. We challenge mindset. We work on, we apply techniques, cognitive behavioural therapy, to challenge reframe our thinking. And I love that environment. I love working in that space. So it's quite a craft that is developed over many years, and I train and support others to develop that craft.
That's interesting, yeah. Because I was going to ask that if it takes a lot of therapy or like techniques, as you said, like cognitive psychology techniques, and so it's kind of a...
It's a new way of thinking, because I think the justice system historically we believe in compliance. We come from a culture of compliance. You come from a culture of reparation. Whereas this new way of thinking is about intervention. It's about changing, helping someone to change in a positive, supporting them, walking alongside people rather than mandating them. Because the most empowering thing is, as you know, is when the change comes from within. And that's what we work with. We work with behaviour.
So where you were born in? You were born in Australia.
Yes, born in Wagga Wagga, in the Riverina. Yes, I lived there, and I then moved. I went overseas. Moved to a country setting in Victoria. And then I was promoted in the recruitment sector into Melbourne. So I lived in Melbourne for around 5 or 6 years. And funnily enough, I met my ex-husband, who was a Wagga man, while I was living in Melbourne. And he convinced me to move back. So I had never intended on going back to Wagga, but it has been a good lifestyle for my children. So we've shared the care of the children. So that's what kept me in Wagga. But I'm anxious to explore a little more now that the children are growing up. So it's been very good for me. It's a good country lifestyle.
And all your family also there?
Yes, my mum and dad are there. My brother is in Ballarat, so he was also in Melbourne. And he's settled down in Ballarat. So yeah, predominantly mum and dad.
So it's just you and your brother in the family. Interesting. So let's talk about age and our changes that come with age. And what do you think is the biggest positive change you're experiencing at this age?
It's such a good question, Alexandra. I think there's a new calmness about me. I'm in a really good place, and I think that comes with age only because there's two fundamental differences, I think, as you age as a woman. One is wisdom And that comes with life experience. That would be expected. You know, you have your ups and downs, and life teaches you some lessons along the way. But importantly, what comes with that is acceptance. There's this calmness in you that there are some things that we have the power to change and some things that are outside of our immediate control. And that's that acceptance, that's that inner growth that allows you to take a new perspective on life. That's, you know, and understand what's important and what you can let go. You know, you can let go of so much anxiety that you suffered as a young woman, you know, the pressure you put on yourself to be the perfect mum or the perfect partner, the ambitious young woman, where am I going, where's my life direction? You can just let yourself find some inner peace. And I think that's where I'm at, you know, at this point in my life, is the acceptance is there. I have that calmness and inner peace around some of that stuff. You can let it go.
And it's so sad that we reached this piece when we
I know, I wish I knew some of this 25 years ago. If we understood that 25 years ago.
Yeah, so I'll jump to this question while if we started already mentioning that, so I'll jump to this question, my favorite one. So if you could meet your 30-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
When you ask me that question, I think about my girls too, about where they are in life. I think what I would say is have the courage, back yourself, because our greatest inhibitor of growth is actually ourselves. We limit our own potential because of that self-doubt, that inner voice. So my biggest advice to the younger woman I once would have been, let that go. Dare to be different. Be brave. Have the courage. Try it. If it fails, move on. Kick some ass. and just enjoy that journey. Because I think we do limit ourselves as young women. So that would be my advice.
To yourself?
To myself,
and
but
to
also to my
other women.
And other women. Yeah, believe in yourself, back yourself, and you are capable. You will be capable of greater things with that inner belief in yourself. We are so sometimes frightened of failure or letting people down, and that's what generates the anxiety. So what you then end up projecting is self-doubt. And that feeds to the universe. So if your inner strength projects, that aura allows you to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, and going back to changes with age, what is your biggest challenge at the moment connected with the age?
Choices. All of a sudden, you know, the last 18 years of my life, I've been committed to raising 2 children. As a single mother, my entire energy and focus has been predominantly on being a breadwinner and raising 2 children on my own. So now that the children are finding their own way in their world, all of a sudden the world has opened up choices for me. So my biggest challenge right now is deciding, well, what path do I want to take? You know, who am I? I'm rediscovering myself. So yes, choice is a challenge.
I like how you put this into... like I have the same problem, but I look at that problem from the darker point of view. I'll explain. And I like how you flip it into the light side, like choices. For me, it was first when my son grew up, I'm thinking, okay, what am I now? And, you know, who am I now and what I'm going to do? You know, like I lost my identity as mother.
Absolutely.
And now you say like, oh, if you look at the situation that, yeah, but you have choices in front of you and you can choose. That's
So
different.
it's exciting, but it's
Yeah.
also challenging.
Yeah.
Because it really requires you to have another, to do more self-reflection and ask yourself, well, in this next phase of my life, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to experience? Who do I want to share time with? And we talked about that earlier. Where do I give my energy now? So you're redefining yourself.
Yeah, I like this word, redefining, exactly. And you can look at this as a positive thing, or be sad that you lost your identity, or just look at this positive that...
It's a positive challenge.
Yeah, exactly. So you told me already about your accomplishment. You said that your kids and being mother is your big accomplishment. Do you have any other accomplishments you want to mention? Like, as I understand that the greatest one is being a mom of your girls.
Number one
Yeah.
is the greatest privilege, and hopefully the legacy I leave is imprinted on those girls that are the next generation. I mean, I grew up in an era where we talked the talk, but women weren't really equals in our communities, in our society, and still we still have challenges, but I feel this next generation, they will bring unity and equality. It's a really exciting place to be right now. And so to leave that legacy for my girls to have that inner strength, to find their voice, but also have humility in that process is very important. So my lifelong legacy is, and I live this in my professional life and I live this in my personal life, is we rise by lifting others. And hopefully that's the philosophy, that's my life legacy.
Yeah, I love this philosophy. And it's so rewarding, like when you see that you help someone to rise up or to recover or just to step up forward, whatever. So but I think it takes a lot of courage to sometimes to appreciate that, because let's say if you are a teacher and you have a student, sometimes student will be better in something, and it's just your decision. Either you're going to be jealous about that or you're going to be proud about that.
Exactly. So I support young women in the workplace. I support the young women in my little life as well, my little women. And so, yes, hopefully, some might call it, I don't consider myself a feminist. My daughter is a very strong feminist. And she said, I have that from you. This is from you. And I thought, oh gosh, you're so headstrong. I wish, and again, I probably wish at her age I had that confidence.
Yeah.
And to call it, if it's unfair, call it and speak, find that inner voice and speak up. And, we're only just starting, it's a really exciting time, we're only just starting to see some really fundamental cultural change around, and it's not just about women's rights, it's about our position in society and how we are perceived and how we are valued. We are actually valuing ourselves more. And I hope that that's something I've imparted on both my peers, my staff, and in my personal life.
If we talk about confidence, like you said, your daughter is now at her age is more confident than you were at her age. And I think it's also same about the body image theme. So I remember when we were young, it was very much about perfect.
L number 10, you know, like this
Yeah.
whole, you know, your sense of, and even I think it's still a problem today, probably even more so in some respects because of social media, but it's you know, young women feeling that their sense of assessing their self-worth based on how sexy they are is really concerning, you know, or how many likes you receive, or we've become very heavily sexualized, and there's too much emphasis for young women to live up to some ideal that is just unrealistic. And I think that adds to their anxiety. So we need to ensure that as leaders, we're imparting that a very clear message that your self-worth is not based on what you look like. Your self-worth is what you contribute to your community, your family. You are so much more than boobs and pout. Do you like that? We are so much more than boobs and pout.
We are, definitely. And it's interesting that you said that now, and I just had this aha moment, because I've been talking to more than 60 women by now, and I never had it in my head, and then suddenly I realized that when we were young, it was to do with the perfect body image, the way you look, the size, like about the body size and shape. But now it's because now we say like, oh, the women are more confident, they're more feminist, everything, but still they have problem. But now the accents shifted not to the body shape or color or something like that, but sexuality. You're right. Like, everyone is trying to
highly
be
sexualized
exactly
community.
So
yep.
Now it's not about the shape, but about
how sexy am I?
How sexy am I?
And what's the definition of sexy?
Yeah, I think
is our definition of sexy superficial? Absolutely, because social media is superficial. Sexiness is, you know, your intellect. It's what you contribute to the relationship. It's your sisterhood. It's your friendships. It's your family connections. You know, those are, you know, we talked about aura. These are the elements that make you an attractive individual, not a sexy individual, an attractive individual. You warm to people like that. But I think there's too much pressure on young women to be sexy, and that is too superficial. I think it's a shame because they have so much more to offer.
Yeah, it's like, again, coming back to the Stone Age, like the woman needs just for sex, you know, like.
That's right. And yet she's in the workforce and she's, you know, paving her own way, but she still feels this fundamental pressure to perform in a certain, or behave in a certain sense around what society is drilling into her is sexy, or appealing.
Exactly. And I think the common thing between like our days and nowadays, like body shape standards and sexy standards, it's all to do with visual perception. So I think that, again, it's a very psychological thing, the visual perception. And men, like, they first of all judge visual, first of all, like women also. And it's like a psychological mechanism to shortcut, not to think, not to spend too much time to get to know a person and then give your opinion about that, and it's just judged by look, you know.
That's right.
Do I want to continue to get to know this person or not? Like, okay, I don't like the look, okay, bye-bye. So it's all to do with the...
Very superficial.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like it's the same basis, like a visual thing.
And you're right. I hope that, you know, the women I've connected with over the years, and I have amazing long-term friendships, you know, with my girls are all over Australia, my girlfriends, and they are women that have the same philosophy about lifting one another and, you know, actually being supportive. That, you know, we've found connection in that. Women can be sometimes very critical of one another.
Most of the time. But it's a skill not to let yourself, you know, go deep into that rabbit hole, become too critical, because that's the way. I think it's like a compensation of your own insecurities when...
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and the woman who is confident and
you project
comfortable,
that confidence. You become like a magnet, because other people will warm to that aura, that inner confidence. That's what you feed into yourself. That's what you project to the world. And I think that becomes an attractive to other women, just people in general, other women, other men, relationships in general. So it is important to have confidence within yourself, but also be supportive and try not to be judgmental of other people.
So we spoke about perfect body image but what does it mean?
And I have struggled too over the years. I've been a lot bigger woman and I lost a lot of weight. And so I have had the same struggle as, you know, a lot of women will identify with what I'm saying. Assessing my self-worth and my confidence and limiting myself because I was so insecure about my weight.
Yeah, weight is the biggest issue with every woman, I think. Like, unless you have a really good metabolism or you're just genetically slim,
gifted.
yeah.
That's right. And I've always been very healthy, and instead of loving my body, I loathe I have struggled, and it has fed into my anxiety. I've probably had bouts of depression around the whole body image thing. It's been limiting, you know. So what it did was I just focused on being a mum. I put more work and energy into that and less energy into myself. So actually losing weight and becoming healthier now is more important than how I look. You know, it's how I feel that's more important. But I can relate to how women feel around weight.
Once you start feeling health issues with the age, you immediately switch to the importance of health. And I agree. For me, at the moment, I've always been thinking about weight, and at some point I thought, I'm overweight, and now I look at my pictures where I thought I was overweight and how stupid I was. I was ideal weight. It was an ideal body, and now I have exactly the same. Like,
it was a beautiful body, and it's still a beautiful body.
Yeah.
You know, it's so true.
But what does it mean to you feel good and look good? What comes first?
I don't know if one comes before the other. I think they come hand in hand. Because as I said, if you feel good within yourself, you will give an energy that brings positive things into your life. But if you don't feel good about yourself, that energy, you miss the opportunities, that you miss synergy, you know, and that feeds in then to your negative self-talk. It becomes a cycle. So I think they come hand in hand. What makes you feel beautiful? I think we talked about it, forgiveness of ourselves, so acceptance and forgiveness that we are beautifully imperfect. And unfortunately, if I'd known that 25 years ago, you know, I could have been happier 25 years ago. You know, I spent less time dwelling on things that weren't really important in the scheme of life. So yeah, I think they come hand in hand.
Excellent. And you answered this question. What makes you feel most beautiful? You said the way you feel about yourself.
Big earrings. Everyone that knows me, I love a flamboyant. Oh, here comes Lucinda. What earrings is she wearing today? And it's probably
we have plenty of earrings
bling bling.
in the studio. We can play today.
Big earrings, good wine,
You're in the right place. There's a place with a lot of big earrings.
daily cappuccino intake, just the small things, that put a smile on your face. What things? Oh, I think that's so personal, the question. I find it hard to answer that one. I think today will help me feel beautiful because I'm so excited about putting outfits on and dressing up and being playful. That's probably the other thing. As women, we forget how to have fun and play. Yeah. Where's our inner child? Yeah. Because we're so responsible. We have responsibility for children. We have responsibility in the workplace, in the home. So don't forget to be playful and have fun. Yeah. That makes you beautiful too.
Yeah, it's a good one. And my last question, do you have any favorite saying about a woman?
Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. That's my number one favourite. The other one is you educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, you educate a generation.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
And that's what I was talking about, my legacy for my girls. Yeah. They will change the world.
Wow, what a great wrap up for the interview. Thank you, Lucinda. Thank you very much for joining the project, for this interesting interview and sharing your thoughts. I hope you will enjoy today and you will feel yourself beautiful.
We'll have fun.
Girls just want to have fun.
If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a KS. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.